Today we're in Rhyolite, Nevada, a ghost town near Death Valley, and a chilling reminder of what boom and bust economies look like. The Cook Bank building was finished in 1907, but it didn't last long. The Knickerbocker financial crisis in the summer of fall of 1907 caused this bank to close. The national debt and boom and bust economies is the subject of this week's cartoon. There's a fair amount of trial and error in this video. Let's just chalk it up to happy accidents. As a result of the 1907 financial panic, banking reform seemed inevitable. So to get out ahead of it, 6 men, whose combined wealth was 1/4 the total wealth on the planet at that time, met in secret on Jekyll Island, a resort off the coast of Georgia. Over the course of a week in 1910, the banking cartel hammered out the Federal Reserve Act, which led to America's central bank. G. Edward Griffin wrote a legendary book called The Creature from Jekyll Island, and if you want to learn more about it, I'll leave a link in the description below. As Ron Paul points out, the Federal Reserve is as federal as Federal Express. It is in fact not a public institution, but rather a private banking cartel.
I mean, it is very clear what we should be doing. The founders knew and understood something about inflation. The runaway inflation of the continental dollar was devastating to the economy, so they were explicit. They said no emitting of bills of credit, no printing money, no paper money, and that only gold and silver should be legal tender.
The biggest contributors to the national debt are the military-industrial complex, Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security. So that's what the vultures represent. Also, not having sound money is a big contributor. Kind of a random throwaway gag Easter egg type thing, but it's supposed to be a liter of Coca-Cola next to him. Thanks to my buddy Ben for doing the camera. Before we left to Rhyolite, we bumped into Michelle Fiore outside of early voting. She was in the first cartoon I did for the Pahrump Valley Times. Next week's cartoon is going to be caricatures of all the winners of Nevada's primary. Hopefully, Michelle Fiore makes the cut.
I'm Michelle Fiore. Washington Post called me a gun-toting calendar girl. And Politico magazine said I was the Lady Trump, and I don't care.
There is no authority in the Constitution authorizing a central bank.
Lastly, I applied a filter to make it look more sunsetty.